it's my great pleasure to introduce Peter Adams, the Senior Manager of Industry Engagement at Powering Skills Organisation. Welcome, Peter.
Thanks, Mike. How are you?
I'm good. So let's launch straight into it. So, Peter, what are Jobs and Skills Councils? What exactly do they do? And what's their relationship with Jobs and Skills Australia?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Mike. So the Jobs and Skills Councils were established by the Commonwealth Government, um, and they're really there to ensure that across all of the industries and all of the workforce that Australia needs to help keep our organisations and our companies running and our communities running, that we have the skilled workforce that we need. And we know that with new technologies coming out and new roles coming out, that the training's changing and the skills that industry needs is changing. And so the Jobs and Skills Councils are there to make sure that the training products we have, the nationally accredited training products that you might get trained on in TAFE or a private training organisation, that those training products match the needs of industry and match new and emerging technologies. And we're also there to make sure that, again, that industry's got enough of the workforce and that we're promoting these great careers and great pathways that are available. And so, and you're right, we do have a connection with Jobs and Skills Australia. So Jobs and Skills Australia work on doing that more broadly. So we're quite focused on an individual industry, and we work really closely with Jobs and Skills Australia to really look at the data and the numbers. But from our side, we're there to bring that story to it all. So to talk with industry and really start to draw out not only what we can see from the numbers, but their stories and their needs and the story behind those numbers.
Okay, well, let's drill down on that. So what is the specific remit of Powering Skills Organisation and what are the industries that you represent?
Yeah, perfect. So we represent the energy sector, and what we usually say is energy, gas, and renewables. So we're really across the wide gambit of roles that are to do with electricity, and that ranges from your electricians who might be working, in a domestic environment on homes and building new homes and things like that. It could be electricians working in an advanced manufacturing environment. It might be, it might be refrigeration and air conditioning mechanics, or people who are working with instrumentation and roles like that. So anything to do with electricity. We also work with those roles that are to do with the generation of electricity. So when you think about your wind farms or solar farms or your your gas power plants and things like that, where they're creating and generating energy, we work with that part of the sector as well. And then we work with the transmission of electricity, so moving electricity from that power generation to the house, which is your transmission and your distribution networks. We work with that side of it as well. And then the final side we work with is gas. So, and again, it's moving that gas through the pipes. How does it get from where the gas is generated or where it's stored through to your houses and things like that? We also work with that side. So it's really all things energy.
All things energy. Okay, so let's talk specifically about your role. So you're the Senior Manager of Industry Engagement. Tell us about your role and what does a typical day look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, my role is really, we get a little bit of the story from the data and the numbers that are collected across government and across various different areas on, on what the workforce needs and how many people we've got studying and what they're studying and things like that. So we've got a lot of data, which is great, but what we don't have is that story behind the data. So, so getting out there and finding out from young people, how is the training that they're experiencing? Is it matching their needs and what they thought it would be? Getting out and talking to industry about what new technologies are they bringing into the workplace and how will training need to change to adapt to that. Talking with government and the people who do the licensing for electricity trades and talking with them about concerns they might have and how training might need to change or evolve to make workplaces safer and things like that. So it's really talking with everyone and bringing those stories in and helping them to combine with the data we have and really drive changes and activities and projects that we do to do with the training package or to do with, promoting those careers.
So how does that consultation work in practice? How do you actually engage with industry and gather that intelligence? What are the mechanisms?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of different ways that we engage with industry, actually. We've got some groups that we convene quite regularly. So we've got a technical advisory group, and we have about 5 of those for different subsectors of industry. And that's where people from industry and from the training organisations get together and talk about issues and risks and opportunities to do with those training products. So, it might be a certificate 3 in electrotechnology that people undertake to do to become an electrician. And so we'll talk about, is the content in there right? Are there things that need to change? Is there content in there which is outdated or which isn't resonating well with the students or might need to be changed to make people safer or to increase their safety in the workplace? So we have those technical advisory groups, and they need to do that. We get out there quite heavily as well. So we go and we visit large employers. One day we might be out looking at the transmission lines and talking with a large company about, how they move that electricity in the workforce they need to move it. The next day we could be talking with a wind farm employer about what skills they need for people to be able to work on those wind farms. So a lot of targeted work there where we sort of go out and identify people that we need to speak to. We also attend a lot of conferences. We do a lot of work with, we hold an annual summit, which is sort of coming up where we have a lot of people come in and talk to us, and then trying to really get involved in as much activity that we can see going on out there as possible. So when we see that there's meetings going on that have to do with the energy sector, we try to make sure that we're at the table and we're there to represent industry.
So lots of consultation, lots of intelligence
Absolutely.
gathering that's fed up to the technical advisory groups and distilled by them. What happens next with that intelligence?
Yeah, absolutely. So that really goes to shape the work that we do. So we take a really evidence-based approach to what we do. So we'll have a look at the issues or the opportunities that have been raised or those risks that have been raised. We validate them. So if we hear it from 2 or 3 or 4 sources, we might go, okay, that sounds like it's an issue. Let's go out more broadly and let's talk to people about, is everyone experiencing that same issue, or is that maybe only a certain state or a certain sector of industry or something like that might be affected by it, and why are they affected by it? So we really try to dig down and understand the problem or that opportunity, and use that. And from there, we'll develop a project or an activity which might help to resolve that or to make the best of that opportunity. And we build from there. But it really is about those partnerships and those partnerships in both identifying those issues or opportunities, and then co-design and then implementation of those changes. And those partners are, your industry associations, unions are incredibly important, the training organisations, government, the regulators, they're all important. So it's bringing them all to the table and co-designing and building from there.
So there's been enormous work done to date. So based on that work, Pete, what do
Mm.
you think the challenges for the future clean energy workforce are going to be?
Yeah, definitely. So, look, volume of workers, we've got a huge amount of jobs coming out that we need to fill. And that's a big thing to overcome. So making sure people have that visibility of how great careers in energy can be, and the different pathways that can split off from some of your core qualifications. So great to become an electrician, but where else can that take you?
Yeah.
If you want to sort of keep progressing your career, there are some great different avenues you can go into further into the energy sector and things like that. Keeping pace with technology is going to be another really interesting one. Technology is coming out so quickly, and old technology is being outdated so quickly that we want to make sure that the training products, the nationally accredited training products, reflect that. But we also want to make sure that we're not moving so fast that it's creating big gaps in knowledge. Or that the qualification becomes so big that it takes you 10
Yeah.
years to complete it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we talk about demand, and obviously one of the figures that's being thrown around at the moment is that we need something like 18,000 more electricians by 2030. What are some of the other in-demand trades or skills do you think that we'll need as we move towards net zero?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you're right. Huge amount of electricians that we're going to need as we move towards 2030 and net zero in 2050. Refrigeration and air conditioning mechanics is going to be a really huge one as well. People obviously the first thing they think of is your houses and your factories and things like that that need refrigeration. But when you start thinking of the rise of IT and data centers and things like that, all of these require quite significant management of heating and ventilation and cooling. It's through everything that we do now. So a lot of positions and opportunities available there. Um, Transmission of power is going to be another really big one. It's great that we're standing up all of these brilliant projects to build renewable energy infrastructure like your wind farms and your solar farms, but they all need to connect into the grid.
Yeah.
And if we don't connect them in, then that power is not moving where we need it to. So really important that we grow our workforce there. A lot of jobs available, especially in regional and remote areas, and some brilliant pay and opportunities available there as well. So there's some of the three, but it really is broad, and for a lot of it, it starts with that certificate 3 in electrotechnology qualification. Getting that license, that electrical license, can really sort of take you anywhere from there.
Hmm. So you mentioned that we've got to be careful that, as things are evolving so quickly, that we don't
Mm.
develop a 10-year apprenticeship. How do you
Yes,
see
yeah.
the actual training delivery evolve as we move, further along the clean energy pathway?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you're right, it does need to evolve, but I think the focus is always going to need to be on hands-on learning and application of skills in a real-world environment. Energy, it is a high-risk industry. We want to make sure that people are I guess our biggest goal is to make sure that not only do we have the workforce we need, but can they work safely? We want to make sure that everyone is safe and can go home at the end of the day. It's
Yeah,
one of our biggest remits. So um, I think while there will be, certainly some changes in digital classrooms and augmented reality and things like that in terms of some aspects of the teaching, that real core of it being hands-on,
yeah.
tied with a skilled tradesperson in the workplace and working with your hands in the training environment as well. I don't think that's going to change a huge amount.
Yeah. And to that end, our public provider, TAFE, across all jurisdictions, seem to have their own clean energy centres of excellence, which is brilliant.
They do, yeah.
So how do we get more female apprentices into male-dominated trades in the clean energy sector? Have you seen any programs or initiatives that work?
Yeah, look, there are some great initiatives going on throughout Australia um, to make the industry uh, more attractive to women and First Nations people, and some of the other great cohorts as well that we see that maybe aren't as involved in the energy sector as we'd like. Um, but a lot of it is really about helping people to understand that this isn't just a career for young men or for men. It can be incredibly rewarding for everyone and for anyone who might like to undertake it. Neurodiversity and things like that. There are really roles within the energy sector that can really suit people. There's certainly, some flexibility that we need to work on, things like helping to make sure that there's childcare available
Yeah,
for people who might want to work, but also have childcaring responsibilities. So making sure there's maybe a little bit more flexibility in childcare arrangements and things like that. But the biggest one is role models. The biggest
yeah,
one is making sure that for young women who might be trying to decide what career they'd like to undertake, that they can see these really brilliant people within industry who are, the really leading industry and who are incredible role models, and who have been through that journey of being a young woman or a First Nations person and trying to decide what they'd like to do, and have seen role models of their own and gone, you know what, I can do that.
yeah.
And there's some great support out there as well. So
Absolutely. And obviously the reason we're having this conversation is Verto's delivering the new Energy Apprenticeships mentoring program nationally.
Absolutely.
So
Mm.
what's your definition of mentoring? What's good mentoring look like to you?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, I think good mentoring is it's helping to leverage the knowledge that someone has to increase the pace of learning and to help them overcome some of those pitfalls that we've all made that with a little bit of guidance you can sort of navigate around. Being there to support, being there to sometimes just listen
Yep.
is always important, and being there to be a cheerleader as well, to
Yep.
really sort of back that person and to really encourage them to take on opportunities that become available. That sometimes it can be tough. You can have some tough days or weeks or
Yep.
months in there, but you know every day starts anew and there's new opportunities and new problems to solve. But that encouragement, that support, that guiding hand to sort of say, hey, be careful of that, or if you do this, then that might happen. So just be aware of that. Yeah, but you really can't speak highly enough of mentoring. You look at the impact that a mentor can have on the person's ability to get through their qualification, um, on their ability to grow their career and to make some really great choices and to, leverage some great opportunities, for a mentor to connect them further with industry. All of those things you don't get by yourself. So, it's great to sort of try to forge your own way through, but it will all happen a lot more smoothly and a lot more supported with a mentor by your side.
Absolutely. Now, the Powering Skills Organisation 2025 Summit is happening in early March at the Hilton Sydney. Details can be found on your website, but how else can people get involved with Powering Skills Organisation?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think the biggest thing there is we've always got a range of projects that are going on. They're listed on our website. Get involved, have a look on there. We're always looking for technical committee members to come and contribute to what those training product changes or maintenance bits might look like. So great opportunity to be involved there. Go to our website, look at those projects. We also have a monthly insights meeting, which is open to anyone. It's web-based and it just gives you a bit of an update on what work Powering Skills are undertaking, and what work might be on our radar sort of coming up. So, a couple of great ways to be involved. There's newsletters and all of those sort of things. But yeah, one of those things, I guess, keep it a bit of an eye on it, watch for those opportunities which align with what you're interested in or your areas of knowledge. But it's a great opportunity to make some really lasting impact. You think about if you're working on a training product, that might be delivered to, 10, 20, 30, 40,000 people a year. You've got an opportunity to make a difference to what they experience and how they're trained and the skills they have, which is incredible.
And I have to commend you, Pete, on your data dashboard. And I'd recommend that anybody
Mm.
takes the opportunity to have a look at the data dashboard, which has got some really amazing data on the workforce. So, Peter, thank you
Does.
very
Thank
much
you.
indeed for your time. We're very, very grateful. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you so much, Mike. Really appreciate it.